Hello YouTube. This year I have been attempting to live as a monk in the wild. It all started with this book right here, The Cloister Walk by Kathleen Norris. She writes in one part about one of the Benedictine monks who is very upset that there are growing numbers of cereal at their breakfast bar in the mornings. He says this: "How many kinds of cereals do we need in order to meet genuine health needs without falling into thoughtless consumerism?" I think in our culture, our modern society, we assume that more options means more freedom, that more options of cereal mean we'll be happier in the end. But I have not found that to be the case with my life. I don't know if you agree with this bold statement that options don't equal freedom, but I hope maybe you'll consider it and join me for this video and future videos to come. I believe that being a monk means being able to live with less, being content with what's in front of us, the friendships, the community we have, the food we eat, the exercise we get to partake in, praying, studying, being a simple person. There's a lot of joy that is right in front of us that we miss from distractions. I live in Nashville and it's a very noisy city. I have started to say that I don't think it's set up for human flourishing. And why I say that is because every day more and more condos are being put up, driving out small businesses, and largely everything's entertainment here, even down to the food. It's just an experience for fun. It's not necessarily going to be about making wholesome food that's going to help develop people. Therefore, being a monk in the wild means living in a different way in a place that might not even appreciate the way I want to approach things. But that's okay. I'm doing it my own way. Or maybe not even my own way. I'm just doing it in a way that isn't popular here. So that has meant for me letting go of some things this year. Specifically, I've stopped using social media, Wi-Fi at home, my iPhone, including its GPS that's so helpful, you know that, Spotify, movie and TV show streaming services, and then my car. I didn't do all of this at the same time. I've been slowly knocking one off the list about every month. But I think once I take one off, like when I got rid of social media, it made me think, man, like I could probably get rid of Spotify. Do I need to listen to every song whenever I feel like it? It was a good question. One of my favorite authors is Wendell Berry, and he has an essay in this book, and it's called this: "Why I Am Not Going to Buy a Computer." I personally have a computer, I use cameras, I use a lot more technology than Wendell, but I love his obstinance in the face of critics. His publisher is saying, you need a computer so you can work on writing books faster and it will be easier for you. But Wendell's metric is not ease and efficiency. His metric is human value, human flourishing. How do we get to things that actually matter? I want to read this quote out of the book. He says, "I do not see that computers are bringing us one step nearer to anything that does matter to me: peace, economic justice, ecological health, political honesty, family and community stability, good work." When I'm making decisions about my own life, what I want to keep in it, I want to be putting ideals, things that are virtuous, ahead of what's convenient, what makes me feel good. I think I, and really everybody, we're creatures that love comfort a little bit too much. And so me letting go of things is me choosing to consider that comfort might not be God. What gives me confidence to explore and search is largely what I was reading about in Walden right here by Henry David Thoreau. If you've heard the story of Walden, it's about him setting off on his own to live alone, kind of forging his own way of life apart from a community. And he has a lot of strong opinions on how we should live and how we should set up our lives. Some people might have a problem with a guy like Thoreau or Wendell Berry or that monk in the Kathleen Norris book because they're a bit radical. They're trying to learn something through experiencing it. They're not just saying, oh, that's too hard to try. After Henry David Thoreau tries all these things, these alternative ways of living, he says this at the end of the book, and I think it's really important, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary, new universal and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, or the old laws being expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. In proportion as he simplifies his life, the laws of the universe will appear less complex, and solitude will not be solitude, nor poverty poverty, nor weakness weakness. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundation under them. I could try things. I could take away something, do it for a year, do it for a few months, and then decide, actually that did bring me a lot of value. So if there's something you want to try, if you're like, hey man, I'd love to switch to a flip phone, give it a month, try it out. There's nothing standing in the way of the knowing but you. John Dewey writes that education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. I've become a big subscriber recently to the theory that experience is the greatest education, partly because I've been reading a lot of transcendentalists in the past few months, and I think they have a lot of wisdom by saying that. So I want to keep on trying things. I want to do as I wish. It's hard to do the things that I would like to do, but with the tiny bit of will I have, I'd like to try to do them. In future videos, I want to dive more in depth into some of the things I've let go of and how there's pros and cons to it and how I'd like to move forward. Also, I'd love to answer any questions you might have, so leave a comment if you want to know something specific. I'm sure we'll dive more in depth into philosophy and about what it means to be a human, how to live a good life, because those are things that deeply matter to me. So yes, please ask any questions. I'm thankful that you've watched this video. Blessings to all of you. Signing off, Andrew. Bye.
And I have finally seen the light at the end of this tunnel. We are one on the basis of levels, made in kind, each distinct but together, sad inside. We are oceans in framing, recognized we become through relay.